Hi, I'm Sandy Sabatini, Research Manager at the College of Arts here at the University of Guelph. Welcome to the Feature Researcher Interview. We'll be interviewing a series of faculty doing groundbreaking and exciting research right here in the College of Arts. I'm pleased today to be chatting with Dorothy O'Doherty Wellington of the School of Languages and Literatures about her SSHRC-funded project on the literature of Equatorial Guinea. And what would you say is the research question that fascinates you the most when you...
Looking at what I have done in the past, I think I've always been drawn to the sort of literatures that have been on the margins. Mm-hmm. So for my MA, I looked at women's writing in Spain, in post-Civil War Spain. Mm-hmm. And then after that, for my PhD, I continued with that, looking at how women writers rewrote or reworked children's literature in adult fiction. Mm-hmm. And so here I am now with the literature from Equatorial Guinea. So once again, it's that sort of thing. I also, right now, I'm looking at literature by so-called immigrant writers, writers from elsewhere writing in Spain. So I see that, my questions or I've been drawn to those sorts of literatures that, have been overlooked, bypassed, have not made
not canonized.
Exactly. Yeah. In terms of, I think, what has brought me to Equatorial Guinean literature, really, it was quite accidental. I came across literature from Equatorial Guinea whilst doing research in unrelated areas. Yeah. I think it was when I was doing my PhD. And you'd think that doing my my BA in Ghana, I would have come across Equatorial Guinean literature. Yeah. That didn't happen. It was in Canada, ironically, that I discovered literature from Equatorial Guinea. Writing from that area up until the 80s, when the first post-independence writings came out. That in itself was somewhat curious because a lot of the other African countries did have post-independence writings from, independence and even before then. Yeah. So that was a curiosity. So I thought that, one had to look at the colonial writing as well. Now, when people spoke about colonial writing from Equatorial Guinea, colonial writing by Africans, there were two novels that novels kept coming up. Cuando los Combes luchaban, and then Una lanza por el Boabi. Those were the two novels that kept coming up. So I thought that considering that colonial governments do not routinely invest in book publishing, it was not realistic to look for sources of colonial writings in, books alone. So where do we go? I thought that one of the areas that one could go to would be the sort of publications that had utilitarian value to the colonial institutions. Yeah. So the journals and the missionary publications, bulletins, magazines, and so on that were used to indoctrinate, educate, civilize.
Advance the cause.
The cause of civilization and colonization. That's where one would look at. Literature like the literature from Equatorial Guinea allows us to get insight into the cultures of people from those parts. It allows us to understand the development of that culture or aspects of that culture. We can't know everything. Aspects of that culture in relation to others. Yeah. The literature from Equatorial Guinea also makes us understand the relationship that literature has with other Hispanic literatures because of the colonial relationship between Spain and that former African colony. Not only that, now in the contemporary era, we cannot ignore the contribution
Yes.
of that literature to literature in Spanish in Spain
Yes.
right now.
Yes.
When we want to consider that literature in Spain broadly to include the contributions of the writers from elsewhere,
Yeah.
so-called migrant or immigrant writers
Yeah.
who are contributing other voices, other landscapes, other geographies.
Really
to-
constructing culture.
Exactly. And in relation to other literatures from Africa as well, it diversifies our knowledge of African literatures,
Yes.
and it makes us understand its contribution and possible contributions to the debates in post-colonial literatures, which up until now have focused on the francophones and the
Yes.
anglophones.
Yes.
We cannot ignore the fact that there exists this literature that is written in Spanish. How did it end up there?
Yeah.
What is it doing right now
Yeah.
in its relationship to other literatures?